What is happening, guys? Did you think we weren't coming on? We're a little bit late, but that's all good. We were just planning some stuff. Yes, welcome to the end of this season's Comic Book Weekly, the finale, and it's going to be a good one. We promise you that this will be a fun one for sure. And of course, we got all three of us on tonight for this finale. So of course, it's me, Mike from Comic Book Corner 2.0, and then we got Kat, Comic Uno. And then we have Brant Fowler from Only Good Comics. We got, like I said, a really good show for you. We'll definitely talk about the Marvel and DC crossover once we talk about the other news. And then we'll dive into this week's comic books. So why don't we start right away, Kat, getting into it.
Yeah, so we have the Ironheart trailer that came out. I did not have a chance to watch the trailer. I'll probably see the show at some point. I like the character in the Black Panther movie, but you guys did see the trailer. So what did you think of it? Not a lot of people talking about it, if I'm being honest.
It's not good.
Oh no.
Really? I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, no, I didn't like it at all. I don't like it. I don't know. It was just something where it seemed like this might be a show where I'm going to have to see it to get like a true judgment of it. You know what I'm saying? But the initial trailer for me it didn't hit it. There's the hood in there, which that's not, I don't know. He didn't look like the way that I wanted him to look. Like I didn't expect him to be in the show to begin with. Right. And then it's just like, I feel like Riri Williams almost like, I don't know. I feel like she tries too hard. And I feel like this show is just out of place. I think it should have came out a lot sooner. I don't know. This is just going to be I have to see for my eyes when it comes out.
Well,
it feels.
Have you seen Thunderbolts? Yeah, because I feel like that was a movie that felt very out of place when it was announced, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, actually, this feels very in place, and it was a great movie. And
it was a good movie because Thunderbolts the thing that made Thunderbolts good is because not necessarily where it takes place in the Marvel universe, but the message that it delivers, how it's all about family, how it's about mental health, how it's that aspect. And then obviously it's, oh yes, we are the Avengers now, or new Avengers basically. But this movie, I don't know. It's just weird for me, or a show, I should say. So this is just something that I don't think you can really truly judge a trailer yet. And we'll just have to wait and see. That's all I see. But what I saw in the trailer, I wasn't impressed with.
I guess I can understand that. I don't know. I liked it well enough. I wasn't like blown away by it or anything. And my nitpick about it was that the armor felt a little clunky for what I'm used to with Ironheart, which is a sleeker, kind of more form-fitting kind of armor. So it was really clunky, like a War Machine almost. So that bugged me a little bit. But maybe it's just like the first armor. But yeah, I wasn't expecting the hood either. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
Does it bother you that it's Riri Williams, like not in quite the way we knew her from the comics? How she doesn't have like Tony Stark as her mentor?
I mean, that's definitely detracts from the character and like her inspiration and all that stuff. But I don't know if they're going to use that like he's gone and that's kind of what inspires her, in the show itself that they didn't show in the trailer. So I don't know. But that is definitely an aspect that's missing from it. And the hood thing was weird, especially the role that he played in her, like financing her and stuff was odd.
It's like he betrays her. It seems like right there you're getting this perception that he's portraying her.
Exactly.
And it's kind of like, I'm sorry, but to me, I don't know. He just looked not the part in my eyes.
Yeah, I got it.
We'll see though. You never know.
Right. Hopefully it'll be better than you expect it to be.
Right.
I will definitely watch the first episode when it comes out, but I guess it's good that I didn't watch the trailer because now it's just like, we'll see what ends up happening. All right, let's get into that. Was all the media news. There's been 12,000 Superman trailers, so I just don't think we're going to talk about this one. We'll wait until the movie comes out. But we're going to get into comic news. So first thing I wanted to talk about was Jim Lee and Gary Frank are going to be doing covers for DC and Ghost Machine. So Jim Lee's going to do a cover for Ghost Machine. Gary Frank's going to do something for DC. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because it shows that indie comics and the big two can work together. And I like seeing Jim Lee just doing more outside of DC. So obviously it's just a cover, but I think it's a bigger bridge for the industry.
Yeah. I mean, it's not so much of a stretch though, because like Gary Frank, like obviously did stuff for DC Comics. So it's like, I'm sure, you know, him and Jim Lee have this great relationship with each other where it's not that hard or not that far fetched to do something like that, you know?
Sure. All right, let's get into the next thing, which is Black Panther and She-Hulk's Imperial one-shots were revealed. You know, this is an event that I'm going to get that first issue, as I always do, and see what it's all about. But it does feel like kind of writing on the wall of every other Marvel event. But they got one-shots. She-Hulk has one. That's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brent.
I was going to say the reason this caught my attention was because I actually saw Stephanie Phillips talking about it on TikTok, and she was like super excited about it and was talking about, you know, what she was putting into the story and how She-Hulk's getting a special new outfit for the event and all this stuff. So that got me a little excited about it, seeing her excited about it. So yeah,
I saw that same video.
Did you?
Yeah,
that's funny
because I follow her on TikTok.
Yeah, me too.
She's on there all the time. So
yeah.
It was kind of cool. It is kind of cool to see her just excited in general about writing comics, which is kind of fun. It's She-Hulk, so definitely I'm excited, you know,
Right.
So I'll definitely check it out. I'm crossing my fingers that this Imperial event overall will be a solid one, you know?
Yeah. That's all you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get into and obviously, yeah, that's all you can really do with these Marvel events. But yeah, let's get into the next thing. Speaking of Stephanie Phillips, we have Spider-Gwen relaunching. I believe Stephanie Phillips is writing it again.
She is.
Yeah, so she's just jumping on board. It's going to be called Spider-Gwen Brand New Day. What I like about this, and I know you dropped Spider-Gwen, Mike, and I know me and Brant still read it, that this book shouldn't work. Like, it's not a good series, but Stephanie Phillips writes the hell out of it. Like she does her very best with a concept that just doesn't work. So I'm very curious to see a concept that might actually work a little bit better. She's officially the 616. So we're not playing with that transition anymore. She's finding a new band, which I really like, because that's literally what she needs. It's just a supporting cast members. It doesn't have to be the Mary Janes or her dad. It just literally needs to be somebody. So I'm excited for that element. And I just expect everything I've been getting from the series, which is not my favorite Spider-Gwen series or my favorite series out there. But I think it's more readable than I would expect from them really trying to play these chess pieces with Gwen.
When this first series started, when it started back a few issues ago, she was already in the 616 though.
Yeah, but she's playing with the cosmic cube. She is in the 616, but you don't actually get to see her playing in New York. She's in other settings, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing at least this one, she's going to be more in New York.
So now is it official, no more traveling, and now we're going to settle down in the 616? Because before we went from our universe, and it's now, she told her dad, I'm going to the 616. I'm moving over here, when it was when she first transitioned over. So I guess this is now she's definitely made up her mind this time.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. And again, does that mean it's going to be a great book? No. And obviously, imprinting Brand New Day has a lot for Spider-Man fans, but I expect it to be solid enough because Stephanie Phillips.
I mean, I'm picking it up because it's a new jumping on point, and I wasn't a huge fan of the artwork in the last run, and so hopefully this one will be better. I don't know if I agree with her wearing some kind of jacket that you see in that main page. When it shows the costume. So if you go back into the article, it looks like she's wearing a jacket or something. And we've done that once before because you see it trails behind her.
Yeah. I didn't notice that before.
No, me either.
Yeah. So I don't know if that that doesn't work for spider people, I feel. Because I feel like it gets caught up in things when they're web slinging and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. You see how it trails behind her? It's like a cape or something. It's weird.
Yeah.
Or I don't know,
I don't know
man.
what quite that. What
And
that
then she's
is.
got that like she's got that the belt with the random pouch.
Yeah, I don't know what she's carrying, but I like the
Yeah.
black. I think the black, especially because she doesn't get her powers through her powers anymore. It's a Venom symbiote, so she doesn't really need to
Yeah.
be carrying anything around.
Like I
Right.
think
That is
the
a little odd.
like
Yeah.
the black and the pink and the white like go.
Yeah,
I'm just not a huge fan of it. My only thing is just the trailing cape or sash or whatever it is that's behind her there, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'll definitely check it out. I'm excited and I'm hoping that it's a book that I will enjoy again, you know, and hopefully you guys will continue to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. Regardless of the connotation of Brand New Day, it's smart from a marketing sense because it's going to make everyone pick it up and be like, "Why is this? You know, what is this all about?"
literally, Tevye said is like, why are they doing this? Right?
Yeah,
Like, because
exactly.
they're making you look at the book, right? Where more people probably weren't reading Spider-Gwen right now, so they're trying to just engage people.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Speaking of kind of new things in comics, we got Absolute Bane's design for Absolute Batman out. So, Brandon, if you're back on the sharing the screen, maybe we
Yeah.
could look at that. I know that Scott Snyder is really excited for this book in particular and this character. I feel like we've been kind of stalling a little bit with the book, so I'm really curious that now this feels like it's going to be the new chapter of Absolute Batman. So I'm excited for that. The design itself, obviously, his head looks really small.
Yeah.
He's huge though.
Yeah.
He's so big. Like it's just insane.
Yeah, I
Like
mean it's more like mathematically correct, right? Because like your head wouldn't grow like as your body would. So I mean, I think
Right.
that would make sense of what it would look like.
His neck is so ginormous. It's just
Yeah.
insane.
It's like his
And
jaw
Batman,
disappeared.
yeah, and then Batman is big already himself.
Yeah.
Like I need to see the story on how this version of Bane became this way,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So
And
I'm excited.
And he's got all those 90s style pouches too.
It's a lot of pouches.
How can he like reach into him with those big hands?
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what I'm curious about. Like, what is the fight gonna look like between
Right.
him and Bane? So I'm excited for it because again, I do feel like the book has been stalling a tad bit. We know that this Mr. Freeze story has been a little bit.
It's a filler.
It's
It's kind of
yeah, it's a filler.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad story. It's just
No.
they're stalling a little bit.
They also said though the Joker was going to get introduced, and they haven't revealed the Joker yet
I
either.
think he's getting his own one shot. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know when. I guess it's soon enough, but I think he's gonna get his own like full story.
Gotcha.
Any other Absolute Batman thoughts? We want to move on.
I'm just excited, and I think a lot of people are gonna go crazy over that book when that one comes out.
Well, something that was interesting that Scott Snyder said on Blue Sky or Twitter, he was saying that between issue 8 and 9, sales went up. Like as the issues are going on, they're like more people are reading this book.
Yeah.
Which is, kind of a rarity in comics.
It's like that with all the absolute
Absolutes.
titles. So, yeah. I've noticed like in my top 10 most pulled comics, I always go through League of Comic Geeks and I look at the pull numbers. And Wonder Woman has increased. Absolute Martian Manhunter has increased. Flash has increased. Absolute Batman has definitely increased. And I mean, they're all like just doing really well. And I think people are just really excited about this universe.
I think it's word of mouth. I think it's consistency. I even like, let's say, Absolute Martian Manhunter might not be your favorite series. I think most people will still say this is a really good book. Absolute Wonder Woman might not be your favorite series, but most people will be like, well, it is a good book. Like there hasn't been anything out there that doesn't feel quality, even if it's not your thing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And they're all good
So-
jumping on points. Like you don't have to
Mhm.
know anything about any of these characters because this is the universe that they come from. And that's what
Right.
makes it good.
Even that, and they have different arcs that make you jump in within the series, like that
Yeah.
Wonder Woman arc, like that one where they changed the artist. You really didn't have to read the previous stuff to understand what was going on in that series,
Yeah.
which is really nice. And yeah, I've been loving the Absolute stuff. Is what I want to see more from the big two.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of the big two, we got Frank Castle returning, and it's gonna be Benjamin Percy, who just seems to be writing all the gritty characters.
Mhm.
And this could be a Red Band book. I thought they were abandoning Red Band, but it's back.
Man. But you know what, though? If there's a guy that can do it, it's going to be Benjamin Percy.
I knew you'd be excited about that.
Yeah, when at first I was like, "Oh, Punisher's coming back." I'm like, "Who's writing it?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Benjamin Percy." I'm like, "That's good." And then I'm like, "Oh, how long is it?" It's only 5 issues. Which
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's only 5. Yeah, and then you got Chiquetto did the cover. I didn't pay attention to
It's
see who did
Julius
the art.
Otto. I've seen his stuff through like Dynamite, but I think he's done a few Marvel things. So he has solid art. Yeah, he has solid art.
I think, and again, it's just like Percy can write a damn good and violent book. Obviously, like, you know, a lot of us read the Sabretooth War, and you saw how violent that was, you know?
Yeah.
So I have a feeling this is going to be good, and people are going to be happy about this because it's Frank Castle. He's back the way that everybody likes him, right? So, but I want to know how he comes back, right? Because didn't he disappear at the end of the ongoing series that we read?
And he has the guns now. I want to
he-
know if it'll tie into anything.
I hope
like
it
there's a new
does.
Punisher. Yeah, I hope so too. That's the thing that would actually like want me to continue to book. If it's just another Punisher book, then I've seen this a billion times. And honestly, like I know that like Punisher has his specific fans, but there's a reason why it kind of kept getting canceled and renewed, canceled and renewed. Like you got to do something a little different.
I'm gonna screen share some of the art by that artist.
Oh, cool.
That's some pretty nice art.
Yeah, he is solid.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I like that.
I remember enjoying it.
That'll be good to see on Punisher.
Yeah, I agree.
So definitely on board with that.
Any other Punisher thoughts? We'll move on.
No.
All right, we're going to Thor relaunches. So it's literally the same creative team, and I feel like there was a spin to it. Let me see. He's reborn because he's been immortal in the last couple of issues, obviously. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. He's just not I guess he's not an Immortal Hulk anymore. I haven't been reading Immortal Hulk, so I don't really know what's been going on in there. But because it's still Al Ewing, it's still going to be the same series. And all three of us gave it a pretty far chance. Like I think we read like 6 or 7 issues into it, and we just all couldn't get into it. So I don't think I'm gonna, unless it's a really small week. I don't think I'm gonna get this.
The cover of that new #1 shows a mystery character, and it's like literally Thor like being born from a baby again.
Oh,
like it looks
interesting.
like the person's being pregnant. Like look at, maybe if you can shot that one, Brant. You're just a screenshot guy today.
Yeah.
He's AV.
Screen share for us. Yeah, he's our audio visual guy.
The one with the silhouette in the center.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Oh yeah, it does.
Looks like a person that's pregnant. Like, what is that? A legend walks among us.
Or someone wearing a pouch of some sort.
Right? Yeah.
And it looks, it does look like, okay, so it's going to be maybe more grounded because it's going to be like a normal person because the other people are, just citizens.
Right.
Got a hammer on the person's like shoulder.
Yeah,
like
shoulder, it kind of looks like that. Yeah.
But also we've done this already. Jane Foster was Thor. So like we already did this. I don't know. We do have a $5 super chat, so I do want to read this one.
Awesome.
Epsilon says, I was sleeping on Wonder Woman for a long time, enjoying her absolute in the last 2 issues of Wonder Woman Batman. I dropped Wonder Woman the main series for a little while because I didn't love the Batman one, but I've been enjoying the absolute titles enough.
Yeah, I didn't love the Batman arc either. That ended this issue, I think, but that wasn't my favorite. I really enjoyed the story before that, but yeah.
I personally dropped Wonder Woman a long time ago because I was bored of the Sovereign thing.
Right.
And I'm just staying off of that because I have the Wonder Woman book now that I've wanted, and I'm happy with that. It's kind of like almost like Ultimate Spider-Man for people, right? It's like Ultimate Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man. You know, it's just like people are like, oh, I dropped Amazing Spider-Man because Ultimate Spider-Man is it for me. So
all right. Next up, we are going to talk about the sad passing of Peter David. He's been struggling with health issues, I'd say, for the past couple of years. For a little while. So he did sadly pass away. So we want to just talk about the books we really liked from him. I really loved his Young Justice. Obviously, that show would have existed if he didn't write Young Justice. And it was the Teen Titans that I love, like Connor and Cassie, and it was the beginnings of that. I love his Supergirl, Linda Danvers. That whole comic is, got me into Supergirl, got me into DC Comics. So those are two that stand out for me. How about you guys? What are some comics that stood out to you?
I mean, X Factor for sure. Had various runs on X Factor and kind of really defined what speedsters were with this look at Quicksilver, how he views the world and everybody going slow, around him all the time. So that's probably the most memorable thing for me with him, aside from the Young Justice stuff.
I mean, and you got to give him credit for the Hulk. I mean, he is probably one of the most definitive writers when it comes to the Hulk and everything that he did. He did like Joe Fixit. He did the Hulk persona. He did all those different versions. He also did Miguel O'Hara, right? I mean, he came out with Spider-Man 2099. I mean, it when you look at the body of work that he has done, I mean, it's amazing. He's been in the industry for so long.
It's never really left it either. He was like in it and was always writing something.
Like
He's still writing. I mean, he most recently wrote that what was it? That Hulk and Spider-Man team up series that was like a 4-issue series like last year or something like that. And that was actually pretty good.
It was.
I mean, so he wrote as long as he could, and then that's pretty awesome, man. I remember, I mean, this is going back now a little while, but he wrote an ongoing Spider-Man 2099 series as well. It was like more modern, and he did that for a while. But yeah, I mean, he's just, you don't get to see that many creators these days last as long as he has. I mean, they're far and few between, anymore. And you get a lot of younger ones, but will they last as long as like Peter David, and you would hope so. You really do hope so. But he's done a lot for comics, and he will definitely be missed for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the great thing is that, when even though someone is gone, you always have their body of work to go back and reread. And that's the great thing about comic books, right? They're a piece of history. And same with like Stan Lee and every other, writer or penciler that's passed away. You can always read their stuff, and they're always right there, to remind you of how good that they once were.
Yeah. So we just wanted to give a shout and remember him and talk about some of his work. That was actually going to be our topic of the video, but this week also today, it was announced what the topic is going to be for that Marvel and DC crossover. And we finally know the book is going to be Deadpool versus Batman, or Deadpool and Batman. And the article also said there'll be other stories in there as well, but that'll be the main story. And there's going to be 2 books. It's going to obviously be one at Marvel, one at DC. You have Grant Morrison and Dan Mora on one. And then the other side is Zeb Wells and Greg Capullo. So
I think the Batman and Deadpool one is the Capullo and Zeb Wells, and the Deadpool and Batman is the Morrison and Mora one. So I think if I remember right.
Yeah,
which I think is go on, Brad.
I was just going to share the covers real quick. So there's the Deadpool and Batman one, and then I'll share the other one. Go ahead, you can talk.
Yeah, no, I was going to say what I think is really interesting about this is, and I think I saw Spider-Man trending, and the idea that this isn't a Spider-Man book, like that's kind of crazy that they're relying on Deadpool, but obviously he's popular from the movies. And then the other side of it is that I really like, obviously, the art. I think they really got their premier artist with Dan Mora and Greg Capullo. Grant Morrison hasn't been writing for DC in a while, though, so that felt like a weird choice to me. And then Zeb Wells also hasn't been writing for Marvel and didn't have the most beloved Spider-Man run, so I thought the writer choices were kind of weird for this one.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because I did read the article.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
And Zeb Wells was like, after he was done with Spider-Man, he was like, yeah, I need to take a break, because that man got a lot of heat for everything that he did in that series. And they said, okay, you can take a break, or we'll give you the opportunity to do this crossover with DC. And he was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll do this. Because it's only one issue. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's kind of like almost an honor to do something like that. So
they might not do it again anytime soon.
Yeah.
So.
And I was kind of like thinking, I'm like, man, Batman and Deadpool, like Deadpool's everywhere all the time. But at the same time, when you think about the story that could be presented, like they said that Deadpool is taking a job over in Gotham and Batman comes across him, that kind of makes sense. Whereas you could be like, oh, well, why doesn't Spider-Man cross over with Batman? But why would Spider-Man be in Gotham to begin with? You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that, but someone even mentioned in their comments of like, oh, Deadpool is not really a scratch that itches for me. And Deadpool's a kind of jarring character. That's the only thing I'll say, is that not everyone likes Deadpool.
True. But I mean, because he breaks the fourth wall and like lives literally between the panels and stuff, it makes sense that he would just pop up in the DC universe randomly. So I don't know. It depends on how they handle him. Zeb Wells is definitely going to have a more, comedic flair with it, where Grant Morrison's probably going to be weird. So it's just interesting choices all the way around. So I'm curious about it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fight could be cool though. Like you see these two come across each other in an initial battle. Like, who do you think could win here? Right? Batman's so tactical, and obviously he has an answer for everything, but he's never come across Deadpool before. And, obviously Deadpool has his healing factor. So what does that look like? And I want to see that fight.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Now Grant Morrison, on the other hand, like I think I would rather see, honestly, I think I'd rather see Zeb Wells than Grant Morrison, because Grant Morrison can make it weird. And I don't know. And the last thing I read from Grant Morrison was the Green Lantern series, I think, that he did. And I hated that book. I mean, I don't mean any disrespect, but I did. I just couldn't, that just wasn't it was so weird and so out there. And it was just, it didn't work for me. And, I didn't like it. But again, it's only like one issue. So it's like, I feel like we can all deal with one issue, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's 2 issues.
One
issue with Grant Morrison.
One issue with each, yeah.
And then again, there's other creators that are going to be part of it too. They haven't announced it, but there's going to be like short stories and stuff like that.
So those stories are going to be embedded within.
I believe so.
Those one shots, then.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be one shots of their own. I'm pretty sure they're in these 2 books.
Right. I'm so curious how long it's going to be, how much they're going to charge.
I think it has to be at least 90 pages.
How many covers it's going to have?
Oh, so many.
I bet you. Oh, man, you said 90 pages, Kat. If it's 90 pages, it's $10.
Yeah, I think it'll be at least $10 a book, because they're making 2 books. That's the only reason why. So I'm like, are they gonna make 150 of 2 books? Probably not. I feel like they make 90 and 90.
It'll be interesting. Because then, do you think if they make it that thick, though, will people buy that many variant covers? Because that they'll sell the variant covers if the price is right, though, to it. Also,
yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Because I'm thinking of other $10 books that have existed. Like Marvel and DC have done it, and I've seen
they've done those
variants,
80-page giants and stuff like that. The wedding, like I think they did that one, was a big one as well.
They might do like a 64 page, so they can capitalize on it a little bit more.
But they have these backup stories too. I feel
Yeah.
like you need some room for. Well, I guess a regular book is 22 pages, so I guess that'd be enough room for backup stories too.
It depends
I guess
on how many backup stories and stuff. I guess.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say too.
Yeah.
It just depends how many you're going to put in there. Do you want to dilute it with like 1-page stories, 2-page stories, or do you want to have like Deadpool, Batman, and then 2 other like decent sized stories to give the story time to breathe?
If I had to guess, I would say that the main story would be 40, and then you'll get like 3 10-page stories, and then that will be the issue. Because if you have more than 3, they're not backup stories anymore. It's an anthology.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I am excited for it though. I really am, and I think a lot of people will jump on this, and I think people will probably be more excited because it's Batman than Deadpool. That's my opinion.
I would agree with that, but just the fact that it's one of the very few and far between DC Marvel crossovers, I think people are just going to pick it up. Just
sure,
yeah.
Especially if you're a Wednesday Warrior, and honestly, maybe people go to the comic book store because of this too. I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and we weren't on for this, but like Battle Beast, a lot of people went to the comic book store because they're like, I like the Invincible TV show. I want to get these blind bags. So, we'll see what happens. I know we have to wait a while too. 2026, I believe. They're still kind of working on this thing.
Yeah.
They're pretty early.
I think they're gonna get like cover wise. There's gonna be like a foil cover, glow in the dark cover. There's going to need to be like a Batman cover, and then the Deadpool cover, and then it's going to be the Versus cover, and then there's going to be some other random covers that have
these other covers,
and it has all these other covers. There'll be characters on it that won't even be in the story. They'll have that on it too. So I think it'll be funny. They could even throw something weird, like if you make a cover, they could have like what is it? Barbara Gordon versus like who is it? The female Deadpool. What's her name?
I think it's just Lady Deadpool.
Lady Deadpool. Yeah. They could make a cover just like that, just because they can. You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with the story. They've done stuff like that before.
They'll have like Ace the Bat Hound versus Jeff the Land Shark or something.
And honestly, people pick that up because of the video game too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they'll do all kinds of stuff like that, man. So yeah, it's cool. It's exciting. It's good to see that. I'm sure it'll sell. Man, it'll probably be one of the biggest selling comics of the year. Honestly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I can only. I mean, again, you're getting Marvel and DC fans together, so and people are also going to think it's going to be worth money, which it won't be because they will be printing a lot, guys. Like as much as people are like, this is a spec book, it's not going to be.
Yeah. Unless there's like a super duper rare cover that you can't get. It's the only
like
thing
a first appearance or something.
Yeah.
So don't expect that. But yeah, that's the news. Before we jump into comics, I do have a Kickstarter going on, so I will screen share that. We'll talk about Kickstarter. We are gearing into Pride Month, so every year we do a queer comic book anthology at Lifeline Comics. We've done Bi Visibility because I'm bi. We've done Transphoria for my business partner's brother, and then this year we teamed up with Jeremy Whitley, who is an Ace creator, who also did Gwenpool and Future Foundation, Unstoppable Wasp, and we teamed up with him to do an asexual, aromantic series. So go check it out. We're really proud of it. We love just having representation out there, and it's a side of the queer umbrella that doesn't get represented a lot. So I'm gonna put that one in the comments so you guys can go check it out. And that's our first day. We're actually like toe to toe with Mark Millar's campaign, so that's kind of
nice.
We're like pretty close to his campaign. So yeah, that's the campaign. And now we're gonna jump into comic books, which I read digitally this week because I was in Las Vegas. So I didn't know if I was gonna have a chance to read everything, and I actually had the morning and I was able to read. So that was nice.
We did get this comment though. It says one of them is going to be in September and the other one's going to be in December of this year.
Okay.
Cool.
So there's that. So
why did the headline? Let me see. The headline says 2026. The big two finally unveil the long secret and tease another crossover event in 2026. Or maybe there's another one after this and tease
Maybe.
another crossover event in 2026. Okay, so that's
Oh,
probably
okay.
it. They're probably doing something else after that.
Gotcha.
That's
cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Very nice, man. All right. So yeah, like Kat said, we're going to dive into the comic books here. So let me switch my screen so I can get into it. All right. So we're going to kick it off here. We'll do Brant and I real quick. We got Redcoat issue 12. We dive a little bit deeper into the character known as the Northerner, right? And we find out that the Northerner is definitely this time traveler. He's got all these, semi-automatic pistols and stuff like that. And he's going to warn Simon Pure that if the South win, that Simon Pure will no longer exist. And we learned about the villain in this book by the name of the Cobbler, who seems like he might be a time traveler as well, because he has a stash of weapons, Snicker bars,
yeah.
right? He's got like books in there about the war. And it just kind of reminded me a little bit of like Back to the Future a little bit there. But yeah, really enjoyed this book just to see how things are starting to unfold here.
Yeah, I like the Northerner too, because it seems like he's from a future where the South did win and things aren't supposed to be like that. So that's kind of what we learned in this issue. And just, yeah, I like the mystery of it. And he's kind of playing things close to the vest in it. So yeah, just another good story in Redcoat.
Yeah, it's such a surprising book how I never thought a book like this I would get into, and
Me
I
neither,
really like it. All right, and then we have a book we all read. We got Spider-Man and Wolverine. This is issue 1. You got that Corey Andrews artwork in there. Reminds you of a more like classic feel to Spider-Man. This book was one of those books where you get a team up. It happens like super fast. There's no build up to it. It's just like him and Shay go out on this date, and it's like, oh, sorry, Shay, I'm out of here. And then it's just so weird. I had fun with it though. Like I liked it. I like how they experienced like each other's dreams and issues that they went through because Mysterio was there. Why Mysterio was there, while Craven was there. Like none of it like really made sense, but it was okay. And then they had their mission was to find these double agent files, and it had to do with Peter Parker's like parents and stuff like that. But at the end of the book, and I'm sure you guys will agree with me here, is that Peter was out of character because he goes to Wolverine and he finds out that Wolverine could be behind the death of his parents. And he's like, I'm going to kill you. Like, that's not Peter. So that was the one thing that I really disagreed of what happened with the comic.
I didn't love this one because I think for all the reasons you were kind of saying, that is fun elements didn't really work for me here. And honestly, that Shay conversation in particular, where like Shay and Peter are not the best relationship, whatever. We kind of already know that. But him dropping the info about his parents was so random. It's like, let me tell you about my parents and how they died, just because the ending of the book had to lead there. I thought was just got me out of the book, and it was right from the beginning. And it didn't do it for me. It reminds me of a lot of things I don't love about the current Amazing Spider-Man, just wrapped into this kind of random team up.
So on one hand, this felt very 90s to me.
Yeah.
On the other hand, so one thing with Mysterio that I did like was knowing what happens with Old Man Logan and the X-Men in that storyline that's at the hands of Mysterio. I kind of like Mysterio being involved with Wolverine a little bit, just on a base level. But aside from that, I felt like I was almost reading like a Rob Liefeld like Major X book or something like that, where everything was just like you said, nothing really made sense and everything was coming out of left field, and it was just like, okay. So yeah, it was weird. It was fine, but yeah, I didn't love it either. So I don't know how to feel about this book.
I think it's one of those books almost where you can't think about it too much. It's just, you almost gotta like you said, it's a 90s book. It's just action. It's just there. Certain things happen just to move the plot along, maybe because it's like a short series. So it's like, okay, well, let's just move things along. They're just going to happen because, So it is what it is. I mean, I liked
Yeah.
it for the artwork, honestly, and the
I
action.
thought it was very manga. It felt very exaggerated to me, but
That's-
also very 90s in that way too.
That's his
Yeah.
artwork, though. Like that's the
Yeah.
way he draws. I mean, remember he was the one that originally drew. What was that book called? That indie book, the guy that he looked like Spider-Man and he had those erratic. It was called
Oh
Erratic.
yeah,
Oh,
erratic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Corey Andrews is the same artist that did that. And
So
when that book
interesting.
came out, we were like, oh, I would like to see this guy draw Spider-Man on how he was like.
That
And,
is true. Yeah.
and Kat was just like, oh, the blonde girl, you know, she was like,
Yeah.
the blonde girlfriend. And you get to see the same style of the way he draws his females in there too. So
That's so interesting because I didn't even put two and two together.
Yeah.
Like
I
I read
didn't
it, and I
either,
think
and I
it's-
love erratic.
and I think it's the colors because he did his own colors for erratic. And if I had to guess, he didn't do his own colors for this one. That is my guess.
It is-
Is that
it
someone
does-
else colored it?
It does seem colored differently, whether he did it or
Yeah,
not.
it's
definitely
very
different,
and it, more maybe for the 90s too. It was a very 90s look.
I mean, he
Yeah.
does a lot of these covers. Like he does a lot of them. Like he does a lot of cover art these days too. So he's made it pretty. He's pretty big right now. So you know, and he's still doing interiors. So I like it just for that.
Yeah, I like the art. It's just the story just
Yeah, it's
felt
rough. But
it's just weird. Yeah.
who wrote it again? I don't even remember who
Don't
wrote it.
remember,
Mark
actually.
Guggenheim for this.
Oh,
one.
that's
okay,
right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's right. All right, so let's move on to Superman Unlimited issue 1. So it's the new book from Dan Slott. He's taken on Superman, right? So a lot of this book we wound up getting kind of a rehash of what happened from Free Comic Book Day,
which is so
And-
interesting that
Go ahead.
the whole issue is like this recap, and
Yeah.
it all recaps like who is Superman, and it's like all things that everyone already knows about Superman, but not the stuff that is like today, like he has a son and whatever. Like that was like so interesting that they spent so much time on things that people already knew, but not the things that people wouldn't have known. What's going on in Superman currently, like Lois having powers or all this other stuff. I honestly would have understood the new reader friendly aspect, but they didn't utilize the pages correctly. I felt.
I agree with that. Yeah, I talked about this on Friday first that I just if it wasn't for the end of the book, I don't know if I would have liked this issue because the whole thing as his life's flashing before his eyes was literally just, you know, the origin and life and times of, you know, Clark Kent / Superman. And if it wasn't for like getting to the point of the plot, it was like, okay, why do I have this again? You know, because it's, you know, we've seen that story so many times in so many different ways. So I don't understand why we needed that part of the book, which
Well,
was like
even-
90% of it.
And also the idea of like you have this other Superman book. Why does this book exist? And I think this
Yeah.
book exists because it's trying to relate to the movie and for people who are going to watch the movie. But
I get it.
the movie's not here yet, so that's always confusing when they release things right before the movie, which I get. So when you want something when the movie comes out, but
Sure.
it feels like premature. Like I didn't hate this book, but I also didn't love it because I'm confused by it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you were saying, Brian, about the Spider-Man versus Wolverine book.
Yeah.
Spider-Man and Wolverine book.
Yeah. But I do like the use of the kryptonite in a way that we've never seen before, the way it infuses in the world. And, you know, it's this metal that everybody can get a hold of now, and it's changed everything for the super family and stuff. I like that because that's interesting, at least, and it's different.
Yeah, and then hopefully that will lead into a intriguing story. It kind of reminded me of like Wakanda. I'm like, you know, it's like now they're going to have this resource, and it's like, but this is the resource that kills the super family, and so they somehow have to stay like away from this. Like that will be interesting. But I agree with you guys here. Like this book was really slow for me. I get that it was made for like the newer reader who doesn't know maybe the ins and outs of Superman. Like, I don't know who does not know where Superman came from, right? But it is what it is. And at least there was a cliffhanger there to where you could be like, all right, I'm checking out issue 2. There's a comment in here real quick I wanted to show before this one, Kat, which this one here. because you talked about it briefly
Mhm.
before. Did you guys see the Mark Millar Stealth Kickstarter comic launch today? Kat said she's almost side by side with that Kickstarter for hers, and I did see it as well because I wanted to see what it was, and I think it's cool that those two are working together again. I feel like it's another street level type of comic or book, and I feel like that's what John Romita Jr. does best with these own characters and stuff like that. And I think he works well with Mark Millar. So hopefully it will be a successful Kickstarter. I'm sure it will. I mean, it's no doubt in my mind. Those two are pretty good with each other.
I'm curious about the movie side of it because, like, obviously a movie and comic Kickstarter is so different. Like, to make a comic, it's so much cheaper, obviously, like, depending on what your comic you're making, how long it is, whatever. But maybe Mark Millar and John Romita Jr., they have a pact of like, oh, we'll share profits, and who knows what their situation is. But, you don't have to make as much money to make a comic. But to make a movie, you need like millions of dollars. So, like, I don't know what their expectations were for the Kickstarter itself. So I'm curious about that. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. I also thought it was interesting to do a stealth launch because for Kickstarter, that's like the exact opposite of what you would usually do. So I'm also curious to see like where the campaign's going to go, like as a Kickstarter compared to maybe something that would have been in the direct market.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also interesting that you went for 40 some odd days instead of like your standard 32. So
I mean, he could also just be new to Kickstarter and just like kind of just like everyone else learning the ropes of what Kickstarter is.
All right. So with those three books that are talked about, let's talk about our number 5. I'll start with Brant. What was your number 5?
Mine was Redcoats. We already talked about it.
Look at that. All right. Kat?
Mine is Superman Unlimited. We already talked about it. I also only read 9 books, so I don't think that would have been in my top 5 if I hadn't read 9.
Mine was The Thing, issue 1. So this is a good book. I liked it. I liked how emotional it was. I liked how Ben Grimm went to go help this school bully, but it was his sister that he wanted to help. He's like, I'm not helping you. I'm helping your sister. Which is cool. And he goes back to Yancey Street and he gets in a bar fight. And it was kind of cool. I don't think it was my favorite book because there was a lot of setup in there. But when you got to the end of it, you're like, oh, now I see where we're going, who the major player is that you're going to put in this comic book. So I was really excited by the time we got to the end of it. But I do like how it all did lead into it. It started off with him with the Fantastic Four, then meeting with this guy and then getting in the fight and then the main enemy. So it was kind of like your point A to point B setup type of issue, but there was some decent emotion in there also. So definitely looking forward to seeing how this develops.
I like this one a lot. I just feel like it was Tony Fleecs at his best, and I feel like it's what I want from Marvel. Like, I want more of these character-driven books that only the Thing could tell, right? And that's what I think Tony Fleecs did really well here, is that it felt like a Ben Grimm book, and it felt like it's a necessary book and is going somewhere, but also felt so much with his history, and art was solid. I just thought it was a very solid book, and if you love Ben Grimm, I think it's kind of your dream book. For me, I like Ben Grimm. Like, I love the Fantastic Four. I like Ben Grimm, so it's a solid book for me.
Yeah, this one took me by surprise because usually I'm not into solo stories with Ben Grimm. For whatever reason, they just never resonate with me. But Tony Fleecs was writing it, so I was like, well, I got to check it out. And yeah, so this one was a pleasant surprise for me, and I really enjoyed it. I agree with both of you. I think, the character work with Grimm, especially just like the emotion with him dealing silently with, his past and encountering this guy and it all flooding back. And you could see that without any words, without, just the, little touches in both the art and the writing. I thought it was really well done. So I'm excited for the rest of it as well.
Nice. All right. And Kat, what was yours?
Mine was Superman. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. So I did mine. Okay, good. So we all went. All right. So then let's talk about Amazing Spider-Man issue 4. So I'll ask you guys first. What did you guys think of it?
he's still on drugs, man. I can't believe we're up to like issue 4 and he's still on these drugs. And like I didn't like the flashback scene with Aunt May and Peter. I think you're supposed to, but it's just like it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't care that he's on drugs. It's just boring to me, honestly.
He's hallucinating, man.
Yeah.
And
For
you're
4
not even,
issues.
but you're not even supposed to know if those flashbacks are like reality either.
But I think they
and if
like
they're
kind
over
of
exaggerated.
but they feed it to you already because like I think we all know that they're not real. Like we've been following Spider-Man for so long. Would he like be like, Aunt May, you suck? I don't think so. You know, they just feels too exaggerated to feel like they're real.
Uh-huh. I mean, obviously, I think we're going to get the end of this because the next issue is the last issue. And I thought the flashbacks were funny in this time around because like he's like having that flashback with like Aunt May, and then like they're making up in the flashback, and then he says to Itsy Bitsy, he's like, I love you. And he's like hugging her. And she's like, what did you say? And she's like, she's all into it. And then all of a sudden he's like, wait, it's not meant for you. And she like freaks out and she's got like this big ass crazy monster face going. And I thought that was hysterical. There was some moments in this book. Listen, it's not the perfect book, but it looks better. As the story is going on, I'm starting to kind of accept what's going on. And I feel like it's developing into something. We just don't know, obviously, what that is yet. And then he's going to be fighting against Hobgoblin in the next issue, which I think could be an interesting fight. And, you know, do I agree with like the soda poisoning thing? I don't know, but I want to know why he's really doing it. I mean, it's like to cause people to have anxiety. That's the reason why he's doing it. But like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. But
I just don't love the pacing of it. I think there is interesting ideas. Like we talked about that in the first issue. Like there's stuff there. It's just like, where are you going with it? But not in a, like for me, not in a positive way. I'm just like, I don't. Obviously, I'm reading it because it's Spider-Man, but there's no interest there. There's no like, does he have drugs? Like, and then Hobgoblin showed up 2 issues ago. Now we're finally getting something from him. It just like the pacing feels so off.
Okay. I'm more leaning
With
towards
Mike.
with Mike. Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm enjoying it too, and I totally get what you're saying, Kat, and I understand.
I do too.
Yeah, so you're not like totally out of left field with that. So I get it, but I don't mind it for whatever reason. And like you said, Mike, there are some comical moments, and I think those moments cut through all the other stuff for me, and it's shining through with giving me something to hang on to here, because I don't know, it's just better than stuff I've been reading with Spider-Man up till now. And I really like the art style. I kind of like the flashbacks. I think they're fun. So it's given me enough to be like, okay, I'm enjoying this, you know what I mean? So
I mean, I feel like I understand like what these flashbacks actually are now. I don't think this was his real past life. This is over exaggerated of things that maybe he did do, but it's just like, again, hyped up, and you're not sure what's what. And that could mess with people's minds. Like people could be like, what the heck is all this? Kind of like Kat is. And she's like, why do I need this? So I totally get that. But for me, this issue was the best issue so far. And I want to see this fight now between Spidey and Hobgoblin.
Better than issue 1?
Where it goes. Huh?
Better than issue 1?
Yeah, better than issue 1. Yeah, I do like this one. Because this one had like actual, like we talked about, like comedic moments in there, which we haven't gotten yet from this series, really, and Spider-Man is meant to have some funny moments, and we don't quite get that, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to the end of this arc and then seeing where we're going from there. All right, so let's move on to Bug Wars, because Brant and I read this one. And then speaking of favorite issues, this was my favorite issue of Bug Wars. Besides that first issue, I would say this and that, and this issue and the first issue were my two favorites. But I liked the character growth in this book, and I liked the spider character, the witch. I liked how she was actually like developing this relationship with him, and she realized that she was wrong, leading him to the coven, and now they want to take that amulet away from him. But I do like, again, it was a character book this time around, and I enjoyed that aspect of it. So, but I do want it to get to the point of where he does get back home and interact with his family again. I'm missing that part of it.
Yeah, so I like the aspects that you were talking about, but that's where I'm at. It's like we're at issue 4 and he's still, trying to get back. There's no connection there. And it just feels like it's slogging along a little bit for me. So I definitely want it to get to that point. So that's where I'm kind of getting a little bit of disconnect. But I do agree. I like the witch character and the way that like he was smart enough to realize that she was leading him to his doom this whole time. And then she had, remorse over it and tried to save him in the end. I thought that was interesting, between the two of them. So I'm curious to see where it goes now that he's with the spiders though, and how he gets back to, being human or whatever. So
yeah, Bear F said there's only 2 more issues left. So I didn't know it was a miniseries.
Oh, really?
I didn't realize that either. Yeah.
I thought this was like an ongoing series.
I did too. Yeah. Okay.
Oh shit. That's crazy.
So he better get back soon.
Yeah, right. But yeah, the witch character was great because I liked learning more about her. I thought that was really cool. And just like how she got casted out and all that different stuff. And God dang, this is over so quickly. I don't even know where to begin then with that, It's crazy. But yeah, this is good. We'll see what happens. So then it's probably going to wind up ending up him maybe going back home.
Yeah. On the last issue, probably. Yeah.
All right. The next one we're talking about is Absolute Flash. This is issue 3. I like this book too. I'm happy that they're ending it to the point where I'm done running, because he's been running for 3 issues and it's like, okay, enough of the running stuff. Like, let's get on with the story development. However, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the story. And I like how he's standing up for himself. He actually figured out that, hey, I can do damage to these guys. And then you get Gorilla Grodd in here as well, which is a monkey. And I want to know if like they're going to be friends or if eventually they become foes. I hope they stay friends, actually.
It seems like they'll be friends. And that was my favorite part of this issue, at least for now. Yeah, for sure. But that was my favorite part because there was that connection between them and how they kept saying we're the same and all that. Yeah, I saw that comment. So that's cool that they're going to just split up in the miniseries for Bug Wars. Yeah. But yeah, that other than that though, not a whole lot happened in this issue. So this one didn't make my top 5 because of that, just because it was more of the same and not a whole lot of progression. But I do like the relationship between him and Grodd.
Yeah, and I think Mike, you hit the nail on the head of. I thought the pacing was good for this issue. Like, this is the best time to end this running thing. Because if it went on for 1 more issue, I think I've been like, oh, I'm kind of over this. But they gave like enough nuggets here between, especially Grodd and Wally, that I thought this issue was pretty solid. And the art makes up for a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I like also how like their roads are like, did you release Grodd? And they're like, the monkey's gone rogue. It's like, oh, you're like, dang, so funny. Yeah, but I think Jeff Lemire's got a handle on this book. I think he knows what he's doing, and let's hope it continues to get better as time goes along. All right, so now we move on to our number 4. So, Kat, what's your number 4?
Mine was Rogue Sun, issue 27. This was another solid issue. I like that they're grounding the series again. It's more about his relationship with his sister. We got his bio mom in this a little bit too. Like, she's been playing anti-villain, I would say, because I don't know if I'd call her a hero, but I don't know if she's fully a villain either. But yeah, it was a solid issue. I liked it.
Yeah, I like this issue too. This art in general is just so much better. I really like the choice of making the sister the Sun Knight or whatever, the other Rogue Sun.
Yeah.
I think that adds something that was missing for the book, and it just their relationship, their contentious relationship is just, I don't know, it's given layers to the book that it definitely didn't have before, and I'm liking like the competition plus they're getting closer even though they don't want to. So I like that dynamic a lot.
It also, like you said, it just needed something. It needed to just bring something to the table again, and at least shook it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool deal. All right. So with that being said, now we're going to dive into Detective Comics issue 1097.
Brent, you and I didn't give our number 4s.
Oh, my bad. Shit.
But that's all right. Mine's Amazing Spider-Man, so we already talked about
all
it.
right, so that doesn't matter. And then my number 4 was Flash. So we already talked about that. Cool. So
now we can talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna move on. So now we're in Detective Comics. So Brant, you didn't read Detective Comics?
I did not. Okay. I didn't get to it. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So Kat, what did you think of Detective Comics this week?
I thought that it was a little bit too detective for me. Like I said this in my review because I miss Batman. I miss the Batman stories that we've been getting as the flagship, but because we have Batman Hush, it's a whole different series. It probably should have been its own miniseries. So now leaning here, it was so detective driven. I'm like, well, I kind of just want to see Batman. I want to see, because as a detective story, Batman has to be the outsider. You don't really get to see his personality that much. So it's more of a Harvey issue too. Yeah. So it was fine for me, but it didn't make my top because of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought it was an interesting story. It was kind of, Harvey going back to his past and solving, trying to find these guys that were doing wrong back in the day. And you kind of, I'm not trying to give away too much, Brant, but it dives obviously into the GCPD about how corrupt they are, things like that. It is very much a like real street level Harvey story. There's a little bit of a twist in there at the end. I don't know. I liked it. I did like it, but it's not
art
like
is good.
Yeah, but the art, it was not the same artist. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I feel like it wasn't as strong as an opener as the first issue of his run. So if that makes sense. So,
and I feel like it's gonna be long too. It's gonna probably be another 2 or 3 issues. And I'm just like,
oh yeah, I think it will. I think that's just Tom Taylor, Right. But at least though he's doing separate arcs where you didn't feel like you really got that per se. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, hey, Heartless is out there. Heartless is still out there. There's Blockbuster, So, we'll see. We'll see how it continues to develop. All right. So now to the Ultimates, and this is a title that Brant and I read this week. This was interesting. There's a lot of talking head stuff in this book, but you're kind of getting a realization of like why Doom did the things that he did when they transported the team out of there. Once Iron Lad dies, he was trying to do something in particular. And then you kind of get a reason why we've been introduced to all these other characters. And so we can form a Ultimates 3.0, the Maker from taking over or whatnot. And you find out there's a traitor on the team. And I'm like, and when I found out who that was at the end, I'm like, God dang, dude. I'm like, that
sucked.
Yeah.
That really sucked. I was disappointed by that quite a bit, but I like it too. I like that there was that twist and the like the confrontation with Doom and, kind of calling him out on all that and trying to get answers from him and all of them realizing that they can't approach things the way they have. I thought was interesting and Steve Rogers kind of stepping up and saying, okay, we've kind of got to, put our heads together and approach this completely differently. I thought that was good. It felt more like Avengers.
It felt like a team. Like they were like, they realized it can't be just the 2 of us or the 3 of us. It has to be all of us.
Right. And no idea is too small and all that stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, no, it was good in that aspect of it.
Right.
It was a lot of talking heads, though, and I don't know. Do we want to spoil who the traitor was? I don't know.
If you don't want to hear it, just I don't know. Close your eyes.
Only close your eyes.
Close
Yeah,
your
only
eyes.
close your
your
eyes. Just
ears.
still listen to us.
Yeah,
but-
don't listen to us. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and it's Janet.
Yeah, it was the Wasp.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then
Yeah.
they're gonna recruit what's his name too.
Hank,
She's gonna
yeah.
get him too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, that's done.
But yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, it was wild though, man. I was like, God. Now I'm really interested to see how this continues because the person is going to relay that information back to Fury. And that's cool too that he was in this book too after you know what he went through. So that was cool. All right. So now we're on to number 3. And Kat, what was your number 3?
Mine was Absolute Flash. We already talked about it.
All right. And Brant?
Mine, funny enough, was Ultimates. So
that's funny. And mine was actually Bug Wars. So there's that. All right. So that's that. And then we just dive right now into our number 2. So what was your number 2, Brant?
The Thing.
Gotcha. What about you, Kat?
Mine was Exceptional X-Men issue, whatever we're up to, issue 9. Yeah, this is my series. I love it. It's Kitty trying to save her student. We get a little hacker Kitty. It's just like, if you love Kitty Pryde, you're gonna love this book. If you don't love Kitty Pryde, yeah, it's more of a character-driven slice of life book, and that's what I like about it. But if you're like X-Men action, they fight Mr. Sinister, but it's gonna be more about like their feelings about fighting Mr. Sinister, which I like. That's what I enjoy about the book.
My one nitpick about this issue was that they've known this character Sheldon Zenos for this whole time, and now that they learn maybe he's not such a good guy, she puts it together immediately. She's like, Sheldon Zenos, SX, Essex,
no.
Mr. Sinister. It was literally like that. So.
Fighting Mr. Sinister with feelings. It's funny. He used to be back in the day where there's action, blood, gore, and slicing him in half and all this other stuff, and now it's like, you hurt me. That's funny. But you're right though, Kat. But if you're right though, like if you like the character, if you like Kitty and you like those characters, you're gonna like that book. It's kind of like, it's almost like I'll say it all the time. It's like Uncanny X-Men. If you like those new kids, if you like the Outliers, you will like that book. You know what I'm saying?
Which I really like about this era of X-Men, because I feel like someone can find their X-Men book. And what I didn't love about Krakoa is, like, if you love Krakoa, you had 20 books. If you didn't love Krakoa, you had 0 books. Yeah. So I think this at least is a little bit better. Like, again, are you reading 20 X-Men books that you're going to love? Probably not, but you probably will find one that you really like. Or
mine got canceled. So
until they cancel
it. They might cancel it, but May will make another. May will love the Emma Frost book.
Right. All right. So what was that? You're the number.
That's my number 2.
Yeah.
So
number
I think you're 2? On your number 2.
Okay. My number 2 was Redcoat. So we talked about that. So we get yours, Brent?
Yeah, mine was The Thing.
Okay, that's right. All right. And then just like that, we're gonna dive into our number 1. So Brent, what was your number 1?
Mine was Rogue Sun. So we talked about that too.
Kat?
Mine was The Thing, where we talked about it.
Well, mine's a completely different book. Mine was Robo Wolf issue 1.
I don't even know what that is.
Robo Wolf, baby. Look at this. This is a book.
Dark Horse. Okay.
From Dark Horse, and it's a total like book that happens in the 80s.
Very Mike book.
It reminds you of / Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Boris the Bear. Do you know who Boris the Bear is?
I've heard of him.
I've heard of him.
It's come from Dark Horse, and it's one of these books where
I've heard from him because of you. I just looked him up.
I think about it before.
You have talked about it before.
So, Robo Wolf and his like team of guys, I forgot what their names are, have this battle van, right? And they go and they go to rob this bank, and this bank has a total of $1.2 million in it because it takes place in the 80s. There's not a ton of money in there. and of course they're robbing it for this Russian guy because this Russian guy took Robo Wolf's daughter. Robo Wolf is not necessarily a bad guy, but since they kidnapped his daughter and these guys have beef with each other, he's like, "Oh, I'll give you your daughter back if you rob the bank for me." So they do that. You get to see this chase, you get to see this high energy action, explosive, and the characters in the book, like his crew, is hilarious. It is so much fun. The action is just great, and the colors are totally 80s. Like there's all kinds of 80s references in there. Like I think there was like this, there was this recording in there where they used a VCR tape to show the like message and all that stuff. It was great, dude. It was something. Why it gets number one is not because it's the best story I've ever read, right? It's just, again, one of those books that you pick up at the shop. No one talks about it, and you read it and it surprises the hell out of you. And I got enjoyment out of it. And that's what I like about, this comic book and why it gets number one for the week. And I think there's going to be maybe 2 or 3 issues of it. It's nothing that's a long series, but I definitely would recommend it if you're just looking to have some good fun. And as Kat would say, it would be like a palate cleanser. It's like you read a serious book like Ultimates, and then you pick up some freaking Robo Wolf, and you'll be into it. The dude's got Uzis inside his chest. It like opens up. He's like boom, boom, and he's like he goes crazy. It's awesome, dude.
But sometimes you need books like that too. Like I feel like not everything has to be a think piece. Not everything has to be the biggest. Like sometimes you just want a fun book. Like for you, it's Robo Wolf. For me, it's like it's Jeff book. Like you just need a fun book.
Yeah, exactly. So that was that. Here's a question. It says, here's a great question for you guys regarding Spider-Man. Ever since One More Day, has Peter Parker ever acted with responsibility at all?
I was trying to think about that because I saw that comment too. And I think his, and this is like sad to say, but I think his responsibility is more of like, how do I feel guilty? Because I think they confused like Catholic guilt with responsibility, right? Because it's just like, how do I make myself feel like I was wrong today? And that's kind of post One More Day what this responsibility thing is, but that's not actually responsibility, right? It's the idea of like, how do I make others better? How do I make myself better? And he's definitely not doing that.
Nah. I feel like the message has shifted, or they don't quite understand really what he kind of represents. You know what I'm saying? It's more about how pathetic I can write Peter today. It's just like, let's stop making him pathetic and make him the hero that we know he truly can be.
Yeah, I would say the only responsibility is when someone he loves is in trouble, and then he feels responsible to protect them. That's like it. But aside from that, I agree. It's all guilt and how bad he feels about himself and how bad he feels about his life and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, I missed the day with Aunt May. What do I do?
Yeah. I mean, oh my
God, I'm late with my date with Shay. Oh God.
That girl doesn't like you. It doesn't matter.
I think Shay and Brian is the dude's name. I think they're dating each other and they have a conspiracy against Peter.
Honestly, I would like that.
Let's do that story, right?
I think that at least makes sense. Because I'm like, the thing I really don't like about Shay's character is that she's so toxic. If in real life, if your friend is dating someone like Shay, you'd be like, boy, he's so mean. She's so mean to you. Don't date her. Like someone will like say something about it.
Yeah. Like secret twist, they work for Paul.
Maybe honestly, that would be the story I would read.
Oh man, that would be so great if there was like this supporting cast of characters that were just out to get Peter Parker. And they were
then the spin-off is the new Superior Foes,
right?
And then there was the Superior Foes with Spider-Man.
Yeah. That'd be awesome, dude.
That's hilarious.
It's so funny. See, we can come up with some fun books, right?
I
Oh
would.
my
I feel like
God.
Spider-Man fans would read that too. That's what
Yeah.
I liked about that Free Comic Book Day book that you guys hated. But I like that they made fun of it, and they're like, "Paul sucks, and he should die." And I know you guys are like, "Well, why didn't he?" But at
I
least
like
they, poked
that
fun at
one little panel,
it.
right? When they said that, but when it said just kidding, or it said something alluded to like they're not going to actually do that, I was like, oh, that's a cop out. You know what I'm saying? But I would love if they like. That's why I am so hopeful for Venom to just tackle the demise of Paul. Like I want that to happen. Like that last issue of Venom, they made him so pathetic. He's like, "Oh, well, you don't like my tech?" And she's like, "No, sorry, not really. It sucks," you know. And I just like,
He doesn't
I
even need to
like
be there
that.
anymore. She's not even
No.
Jackpot. She's Venom.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
doesn't need to
That's
be
great.
there.
That's
He was
why I like her
jealous of a
being Venom.
symbiote. I mean, come on.
I don't even know if she likes him anymore. So
Yeah.
there's really not a point.
Yeah,
I
that's why
mean-
we haven't been intimate because I'm touching this symbiote.
It's like, yeah, that's the reason why.
Yeah. And then he like leaves the room. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I could have 3 as a crowd, you know, or something like that in that book. I just
No.
think so excited to see where that whole thing goes.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Dylan is such an asshole. Like he comes walking in and the whole thing, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" You know, it's so funny. That's great. Not the best. Like, do you guys agree with Mary Jane and being Venom? I don't really agree with it, but I don't have anything wrong with it at this point because
yeah.
I think
I'd rather
anything
see
could
her
be,
have that than be Jackpot.
and anything
Yeah.
could be written well, right? Like any absurd story could be written well. And I think if you do the right angle, that's great. Like it's too early to tell because I don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
And Halloween is a good writer. Like we're reading his Absolute Green Lantern, and it's fantastic. So, I mean, I hope that it can be. And obviously, he's Immortal Hulk, and he writes character history really well. So Mary Jane has a connection to Venom. Like that's interesting and cool. She's gonna be seeing Anti-Venom next issue. Like I think there's a potential for some cool stuff. It's just that Spider-Man's mythos is a little shaken up right now. Like, who cares about Paul? Who cares about Jay? And again, I get it. You add these characters because you don't want Mary Jane and Peter to be together. But at this point, just don't have them in the same comic with each other, and that's it.
I mean, did Marvel do something right by putting Paul in this universe to have a character to be so hated? You know, I mean, I think that's what's funny about it.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? You never know. Like the first appearance of Paul could be a book that might be worth money one day because he's so hated. Or maybe when he dies.
Yeah.
You know, you
Just
never
like
know.
Alpha.
There's certain stuff. What happens if he shows up in a Spider-Man movie? Like, seriously,
Oh, man.
that would be hilarious. Maybe it's
Maybe,
just a
Into the
side
Spider-Verse.
character. Hey, Peter, what's up? What's up, Paul?
That would be so funny.
That would be crazy. Again,
Yeah,
I
it
could
would.
maybe save her Into the Spider-Verse. I don't know about the Tom Holland movies.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right, Bram, we're gonna pass it to you. We're gonna go on to the most anticipated now.
All right. You know, I just realized you were wearing a Batman hat and a Deadpool shirt.
Did you really?
That's crazy.
Took an hour and a half.
Yeah, sorry. All right, so we're going to talk about those top 3 most anticipated. There's only one book that's on all 3 of ours, but
I almost had the same exact list as Mike, and I was like,
Yeah.
Maybe I should just pick a different one.
I could have had the same list as Mike, not you, Kat, because I don't read Minor Arcana, but the rest of them, yeah, for sure. But we'll start there. We'll start with the Minor Arcana. You'll have to catch me up because I dropped this after issue 1.
Yeah, it's the same as what it was. So if you didn't like it then, I don't think you will like it. But
Right.
it's it's a really character-driven book about this girl who moved back to her small town because her mom is dying. She owns a psychic shop, and now there's this like weird, visions that she's getting, and we still don't really know what that's about. But we're seeing her connect to her childhood friend again. We're seeing her connect more to her mom, and there's just some really good character moments that only Jeff Lemire could do in a small town. So I love this book. And again, I probably would have picked Superman, but I really didn't want to copy all of Mike. So.
Yeah.
But I do love this book, and I wanted people.
Yeah, it
I
is.
do want
It's a
people to
great
read
book.
it.
It really, really is. The last issue was wild too.
Mhm.
Like she went on this journey with the friend's kid. You remember that? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
and then she like gave him a toy. It was just kind of just weird, and you just like you never know where this book is gonna quite go. You know,
But not in a bad way. It never
Not
feels
at
like
all.
it doesn't have a
No.
direction. It
No.
feels like, oh,
And-
there's some mystery.
You would think, oh, this is boring. Where is it going? No, it doesn't. It never gets boring. It's just,
I
you're
agree.
always, it's a page turner, even though there's not really any action in there. It's just trippy and weird that way, you know?
It's like very grommets in that way, where if you like something like grommets, you're gonna like Minor Arcana because
Right.
it's more of a character book than it is like what's the plot. It's just the
Yeah.
plot is their everyday life.
Okay. For whatever reason, it wasn't for me. It wasn't a bad book at all.
I feel like it's probably the art. You never really liked Jeff Lemire's art.
That is true. That is
Part,
true. That
for
was
sure.
a bit of a thing for me. I recall. So, but you mentioned Superman, which is Mike's number 3, so we'll get into that as well. He's infected with the red kryptonite in this issue. So,
And
Yeah.
Lois lost her powers too.
Yeah. She lost her powers. I wonder if she's just completely drained from what she did to that version of Lex in the last issue. I'm thinking that's maybe what it is, and she gets her powers back. But my gosh, what a great milestone issue from issue 25. So well done. This book is absolutely awesome. Probably one of the best main universe titles that DC has to offer right now.
And most consistent. This is 26 issues in.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, where it started and where it's gotten to now, it's just really good. And every issue is like a must read for me at this point.
yeah. No, I completely agree with that. All right. So, my number 3 is a new book from Image Comics called Mommy Blog, which
I'm excited for that. It's only a one shot though.
I'm picking it
Yeah.
up too. Yeah.
I did notice that. Yeah. I wish it was more, but yeah, I'll take a one shot just because first of all, it's Marguerite Bennett writing it. And I like her writing. But it's just a weird concept, right? It's like this socialite super, influencer type mommy, and there's like somebody kidnapping kids, and it's all the cover's like all bloody. It talks about chainsaws and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's like
just,
she's gonna try to find the killers or the person,
yeah.
and she's gonna do whatever it takes in order to stop them. And it's like, who's gonna be in my way? I don't know, man. It looks like it's gonna be a little bit creepy, a little dark, a little slasher, type of style of book. It's definitely different. And when I found out it was only a one shot too, I'm like, oh damn shit. I'm like, it's only a one shot. I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, same. But still looking forward to it all the same. All right, so let's talk about Predator versus Spider-Man, which is on both of yours. I am looking forward to it too. I think it took me by surprise for sure, because I didn't think I'd like it at all. But especially with Craven showing up like you predicted, Mike.
I predicted that. I mean, geez,
yeah,
you would have to. Like, honestly, it does make sense. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a game. It's a book where he's being hunted, so it makes sense that if there's going to be this creature that's out there in the wild, Craven's going to want to capture it, right?
Yeah.
So, but what made this book so well done is just that it really got the character, and it got J. Jonah Jameson. And it got Craven in there, and he just like amped it up, right? And that again, this is done by Benjamin Percy, so this is what he does pretty well. He adds the darker elements to the characters, and I think we talked about it when this first issue, came out. Like, it's okay to make Spider-Man a little darker. It's all right. I mean, he is a superhero. He deals with some tough shit, so
Yeah.
it's all right.
It all feels in character. It feels more like a main version of a Spider-Man book than the Amazing Spider-Man. That's what I liked about it. I was like, oh, this feels like something I would have read 20 years ago, Amazing Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. People forget the Todd McFarlane years, right?
Sure.
Darker, more serious side. All right. And let's see. I'll talk about G.I. Joe number 7, which I'm looking forward to. It's like a one-off story, before we
Beachhead.
get fully into the next arc. Beachhead's debut, Night Force, they go on a mission. So Beachhead's like a fan favorite character in G.I. Joe lore, so I'm excited to see what they do with that character. And just, anytime G.I. Joe comes out, I'm excited. So, and then
definitely, I am excited about that too, Brant. It's just, we always say, I'm like, I can't believe we're only on issue 7 with that book, and we always talk about like they did all the minis beforehand.
Right? Yeah, it seems like we're 20 issues in. And then Ultimate Spider-Man number 17 is the one book that is on all of ours. No brainer there. Always looking forward to the Ultimate Universe, and he's teaming up with Richard in the black suit.
I also like that every issue feels like an event, and which every comic should feel that way. Like every issue feels like, oh man, something big could happen here. And yeah, I miss the days where every comic kind of felt that way. Yeah. And that's what I really like about this series.
And I think they're fighting against the Sinister Six.
Sinister Six,
right? Yeah. So that's going to be cool. Now I want to see, since Felicia is in this issue, right? And she's supposedly part of the Sinister Six. How is Richard going to react with her on the other side?
Yeah,
sure, I'm sure
that's
that'll
going
be
to
a
be
big part.
interesting for sure.
So good book. I can't wait for that either.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all our most anticipated. So
I think before we go, we'll talk about our schedule because this is our last show for the season. So we have a couple of dates coming up for you guys, so you could mark on your calendars. If anything changes, we'll keep you updated on Mike's Facebook group or the post section of Comic Book Weekly and Comic Book Corner 2.0. But right now, the dates are going to be July 1st is going to be Comic Book Weekly, the first one. I know it's weird that we're skipping June, but our schedules didn't match up for June. So we're like, we'll do July 1st. And then we're going to do July 29th, of course, because it's right after San Diego. So we'll talk about all that goodness. And then we're going to return officially back on the 19th of August. So that is our schedule. Let you know if anything changes, but we're pretty good at keeping our schedule for the summer.
Yeah. I mean,
we knew it for a few years now. Yeah.
Right? Only a couple of shows. Yeah. And so we'll be back for season 7, right? This was 6, and we're going back on 7. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, and that's it. That's all we have. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this season, and hopefully you all have a wonderful summer. And Brant and Kat, hopefully you guys have a wonderful summer as well, and stay busy, stay safe. I'll try to stay cool. And guys, remember, hey, thanks for all your support. And remember, just give a thumbs up on your way out. Give a subscribe to all of our channels if you haven't, which is Comic Book Corner 2.0, Comic Uno, and Brant at Only Good Comics. And continue to watch our content during this time as well. And of course, we'll announce when, our show will be on in the summer as well, so you guys don't miss out. So guys, as always, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time, guys. Take care.
Bye.